Hi, welcome to Camp Happy Mail, and welcome to day 3 of Spellbinders 13 Days of Craftoween. Day 3. Let's see what we got for day 3. This was day 1, if you recall, and this was day 2. So I'm excited to see what we have for day 3. I'm actually hoping that we go back to being whimsical again and not so spooky scary. But let's see what we got. Day 3, and I do love the cover designs that they've come up with for these, and the packaging on these has just been really great. I love that I'll be able to store them like this and keep them all together, which is really nice. So day 3, poison. Okay. Poison bottle with a saying that says, "Trick or treat, you're so sweet." Trick or treat, you're so sweet with a bottle of poison. That's a tricky one. Because if you're telling somebody that they're so sweet, would you be giving them a bottle of poison? I mean, is this like well, no, it's not Snow White exactly, because Snow White was a poison apple. But trick or treat, you're so sweet, and a bottle of poison. Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about this one. I don't know anybody that I would give a card to that had a bottle of poison on it. So we might have to do something fun to change this up and make it a little more whimsical. You know, I grew up with Halloween being fun and whimsical and not scary, spooky, creepy. Our costumes were always a lot of fun. We never did the scary, gory kind of things. And I'm not even a fan of Halloween movies now, the scary movies. I used to love the Friday the 13th movies. But I can't deal with them now. So yeah, let me think about this one, and we'll figure out something fun and whimsical to do with this. I can't guarantee that I'm going to use the crossbones and the skull or the word poison on this, but we'll figure out something to do with this. Admittedly, this was another tricky one. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with this because I just really don't know who I'm going to send a card to that has a bottle of poison on it. But I decided to do something fun with it to kind of take the spooky, creepy out of it. We're going to turn the bottle into a shaker card. And the way that I did that was I taped the two dies together. The original bottle creates a solid shape, and so that I could have a hole in it to put shaker contents, I put the label on it, and then that gave me a shape like this. I cut multiples of these, and I'm going to glue them, stack them one on top of the other to create a vessel to hold the shaker contents. So let's get started with putting this card together. There's a lot of pieces to this one, but it's going to be fun. And again, we're going to use a standard A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I did use a sketch for this. This is kind of a sketch. It is somewhat similar to Queen and Company sketch number 55. It is changed quite a bit from 55, but I did use some elements from that one. This frame was made with a Queen and Company foundation die. It's really nice because it has a stitched border on it, but it leaves the center part blank so that you can add in a different color to the centerpiece if you want to, which is exactly what we're gonna do. I tried to stick with Halloween colors for this because it is a Halloween card, of course. And I tried to use some bright colors just to make it a little bit fun. Love me some fun Halloween. And I will trim off the edges of this. This piece of paper was out of the Monster Mash, Echo Park Monster Mash pad. And I just thought having the moons and things on it went nicely with the bottle of poison. And I like the wonky shape of this one. It's not just a straight rectangle. This was also a Queen and Company's foundation die. And it just kind of gives it a little bit of a whimsical look. Okay, and now for the shaker pieces. There's a lot of ways you can create a shaker card. If you had foam tape that was thin enough, you could easily put that on the back of one of these shapes. I don't have foam tape that's thin enough to do this. So I thought the next best way would be to stack a bunch of the die cuts. And they stack together pretty easily because they are a simple shape. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 layers plus the top layer and the bottom base and then the acetate. Hopefully that will be high enough to put our shaker contents in it. Okay, that's 3 layers. I had also thought about using my scan and cut to cut this shape, and you can see I have a pencil line drawn in here because I had traced around this die, thinking that if I traced it around a couple of times and then ran it through the scan and cut that I could achieve the same thing. But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought that maybe I could just figure it out with the dies, and that's when I came up with how to tape together the dies so that I would get exact duplicates of the die cut. Okay, and that's 4 layers. So let's go ahead and do our 5th layer. And I did keep those dies taped together just in case this turns out to not be high enough, in case I need an extra layer or 2. Always a good idea if you're going to do something like this to keep your dies taped together, so that way if you need to go back and make more of them, you can. Okay, and that's our 5 layers. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that down to the base. And actually, I think I'm going to build this backwards. I'm going to put the base layer on last. So let's go ahead and put the acetate layer down. The acetate layer is a little tricky because you got to make sure to not get glue on, and I did get some glue fingerprints on it, and then I had to use my paper towel to wipe those off before I glued this down. Okay, let's go ahead and put our front piece on it. I did get a little bit of extra glue seepage here that we'll try to get out. Okay. So now we'll take and dump our filler into it. We'll do some green. And some purple. I never know how much filler stuff to put into shaker cards. So we'll just put some in. And then we'll glue our back piece on. I'm going to put a couple blocks on that to allow it to dry. While we go ahead and stamp the sentiment. I will be heat embossing the sentiment like we did on the last two cards, because I found that that is just a nice way to set it. Okay, so we want the trick or treat, you're so sweet sentiment. Just going to prime this a little bit with my finger so that the ink will stick to it a little better. And I will turn the sound off on this so you don't have to listen to this. Okay, I think that looks good. Okay, so let's finish putting this card together. I gotta finish assembling the bottle. the little pieces can be somewhat fiddly. Okay. And I think we're going to pop up the sentiment at the bottom. Just like that. And then we'll go ahead and adhere our bottle down. For the last bit, we have to decide, do we want to put the skull and crossbones on the front of it? And I guess we will. You got to be extra careful when you're doing this part of it, just because of us making this into a shaker card. We have that clear acetate, and we don't want to smear glue all over that. Just like that. So there is our card number 3 for the 13 Days of Craftoween. I hope you enjoyed seeing this one come together. This was a little bit out of my comfort zone. I normally don't do shaker cards like this, but I'm happy with how it came out. It's not quite as scary spooky as what it could have been. And I think I actually like this one. So that's it for today, and I hope to see you back here tomorrow.